All right. Well, Happy New Year, and thanks everyone for joining. This is the first SIG Windows meeting of 2020, and it's January 7th. So this is recorded, and please make sure you follow the Kubernetes community guidelines. Just taking a quick look at who's here. Okay, so looking at the meeting agenda here, looks like there's one item that Michael added, but I think it was on behalf of Ben and Lubomir, talking about some of the stuff they were looking at as part of a different approach for KubeADM implementation. But unfortunately, I don't see either of them here yet. So we can come back to that if they've got a few, if they come back, if they join a little bit late. So one thing I wanted to note real quick is that Adeline has started a couple of PRs to add Windows Server 1909 to the test pass. That was something that that Peter was asking about a couple of weeks ago, and so I'll get those PRs copied in here. But we did some cleanup on the subscription we're using for running the tests on Azure, and now we've got enough quota available to run both 1903 and 1909, at least for the master branch. Is anybody else running tests on 1903 or 1909? Have you tried anything deep? No. And Jeremy, are you running on 1903 or 1809?
I've got stuff running on 1903.
1903. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good. So from a functional standpoint, I don't think we've done anything different in the Kubernetes code base that requires 1903 yet. Have you noticed any differences in your setup?
No, I haven't seen any issues related to the 1903 version.
Okay. And same with 1909. I think the only things we might be able to bring in might be possibly some networking improvements. Is there anything that you were aware of, Dinesh or David, that would need to be done to support 1903 or 1909?
Really, I mean, it's mostly the port pool allocation with the Kubernetes service API is one of the biggest changes, I would say.
Sorry, the dynamic port allocation?
Dynamic port allocation. So a lot of people hit the scale issue. So that's the only thing that I feel. And probably the DSR.
Is DSR implemented in kubeproxy yet?
Oh, yes. But I think there is some final changes that Kalia and Betsy are working on, I think.
Okay. Is that 1903, 1909, or what was the minimum version?
1909. 1909 is what? 19H2? Oh, vibrating? I don't know, what's just 1909?
It's a little bit different than 1909. I don't think all the changes are in 1909.
Okay.
Based on the new.
Yeah, because 1909 was released just as like an optional update. It's not a.
Got it.
Yeah.
But the dynamic port allocation fixes are there, right, David?
Yes, and I think it's being backported.
All the way to RS5.
Or all the way to RS5, yeah.
Okay, but has it already been released for 1909 and 1903? David?
Let me double check that. I can tell you in a few minutes.
Okay. Okay. So other than that, I'm not aware of any other major changes there. Did anybody have other items for today? The only other item I saw in the Slack in the last week was about some of the scheduling latency tests were added for GCE. Um, did you have any interesting findings setting those up, Yang? Or is it pretty much just running as expected?
I did some testing there, so just get for 10 pass and takes around 2 minutes. So I don't know if it's good enough or not. Maybe I don't know if you guys have any testing before or any data related.
So it's 10 pods on a single node?
A single node with 8 cores.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much in line with what I've observed.
Okay.
So each pod has one container each or more?
Yeah, each one has a one container, pass container. Oh, with pass image. Yeah. So currently I'm doing some other testing to find out how much pass we can support. Because last time when we run 80 pass, it looks like timeout. It's taken too long. So currently I'm doing to like 40 or 50 pass to see if it's working fine. It's on my observation. It's like a linear relationship. If you go up with the latency and the pass number. Yeah. And all the tests is based on this project. The repository is a perf test repository.
Mm-hmm.
I replicate all the tests from the Linux to Windows, and still figuring out any other test case I need to replicate. Like I noticed there's a container D node throughput test, but I still figuring out what it does, and do we need to replicate as well? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. This pretty much from my findings. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Thanks for sharing that on the channel and letting us know here. And then I've got the note from Dinesh on there regarding the DSR. So I'll have to compare builds, but so Dinesh, so for the direct server return stuff, that build you mentioned is something that would be a, I think a 20H1 build, because the 1909 build number is lower than that. It's still 18363 is version 1909.
Yeah. It's not fully implemented in the 1909 release. That's just the build that they picked out.
Oh, okay, got it.
and it's not on there. But it does, DSR does work on Windows Server 1903 and above for
Mhm.
some communication paths, like container to container, container to servers, and container to external should work. And then in 1909, we're adding, or sorry, in the build 2003, we would be adding host to service, host to pod, host to node port, and external to node port over DSR.
Okay.
So it's like half the paths work on 1903, but it'll fully work in 2003. But there's no like regressions or like blockers that I think would block support for 1903 or 1909. It's just additional capabilities we're adding.
Yeah.
For DSR is also approved, David. Are we backporting this to?
I think there's like Mike is the one owning that. I'll follow up with him and I'll let you know.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have topics for today? All right. Well, I guess we can end it early then. So thanks everyone for joining. Happy New Year, and I think we'll probably have a bit more going on next week as the rest of people get back into town. So.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Have a good one.
All right.
Happy New Year.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.